Welcome to today's Explainer. So, have you ever felt like your identity was entirely decided by other people? Literally before you even got the chance to figure it out for yourself? It's kind of like you were assigned a role in a play you never actually auditioned for, and suddenly, boom, everyone is aggressively grading your performance. Well, today we are unpacking that exact, intense collision between strict cultural expectations and a young woman's desperate hunger for autonomy. We're diving deep into the source material of Safia Elhillo's absolutely incredible novel in verse, Bright Red Fruit. Okay, let's kick things off with this striking epigraph from Louise Gluck, because it perfectly sets the stage. It reads, "In the tale of Persephone, which should be read as an argument between the mother and the lover, the daughter is just meat." I mean, wow. That is an incredibly heavy, visceral image to open a story with, right? It immediately tells us that our protagonist, a 16-year-old girl named Samira, is caught in a terrifying tug-of-war. Her agency is completely threatened. Rather than being treated as a human being capable of making her own choices, she's treated as an object being fought over, way before she's even had a chance to figure out who she actually is.
Part 1. The Carnivorous Gossip. Weaponized Words.
Let's move in and see how this builds. The rumors about Samira grow exponentially. It's like a runaway train that the neighborhood aunties and uncles just actively and, frankly, carnivorously feast upon. And it's infuriating. Think about it. In 16 years of life, Samira has never actually been kissed, not once. Yet her name is kissed by every gossiping mouth. It all started years ago with a boy in Sunday school who lied about being with her just to impress his friends. And the wild part? He doesn't even live in the country anymore. He moved back to Sudan. But he pushed the cart down the hill, and the community just keeps shoveling coal into the engine. Aunties claim they saw her embracing a boy at the mall, or they spot bare legs under a diner table just because she had to change out of stained jeans. Uncles are reporting her getting into cars after dark, when in reality she's just getting a ride home from a friend's mother. The source material notes there is something genuinely gleeful and carnivorous about this. This gossip isn't just passive chatting. It's a highly effective tool of social control, used to enforce boundaries by making a total public spectacle of a teenager.
Part 2. Logistical Spy Games. A Parallel Existence.
Now, it's absolutely fascinating to see how the girls pivot their survival strategy here. Samira doesn't endure this alone. She has her anchors, Tamador and Lena. During the school year, these three basically run a CIA black site out of their high school lockers, stashing contraband denim miniskirts and secretly shaving their legs with hidden razors. But when summer hits and they lose access to those lockers, they have to adapt. They pivot to stashing their hidden American teen lives right underneath their bedroom mattresses. The extreme community surveillance hasn't created a docile daughter, no. It's essentially trained her to build a parallel existence, to be a covert spy sleeping quite literally on top of her secrets.
And this brilliantly illustrates the sheer, exhausting logistical brain power required to construct just a 2-hour window of freedom. When they want to hang out, they can't just say they're going to the movies. No way. First, they have to find a real movie currently playing, say some time travel superhero flick. Then, note the exact 3:15 p.m. showtime. Look up online reviews, and finally, memorize talking points like, "It spends so much time explaining, but not a lot actually happened." They do all this just to survive the inevitable interrogation from Samira's mother when they get home. The anxiety of maintaining this facade takes a profound emotional toll. It's like her authentic desires are being treated as a literal crime.
Part 3. The Threat of Exile. Social Death.
So, let's talk about the psychological stakes of this double life, specifically this ghost haunting the neighborhood, Lena's older sister, Farah. Farah got an American boyfriend and moved across town. And her punishment? She was completely cut off. Total social death. Forbidden from calling, forbidden from ever seeing her sister again. Her name has literally been turned into a verb by the neighborhood mothers, used as a cautionary warning. Remember Farah and behave? This looming threat of exile, this terrifying fear of being entirely disowned, is used to terrorize the girls into keeping their girlhood small, silent, and governable, because any slip-up could trigger life-ruining consequences.
To avoid becoming no one's daughter, Samira has to navigate this suffocating list of physical restrictions. She can't use tampons. She can't wear shorts or tank tops. She isn't even allowed to lock or close her bedroom door, which totally denies her any basic expectation of privacy. Perfume, forbidden, because that's only for married women. Red clothing is out, because that's only for brides. Literally anything that acknowledges she's a maturing young woman is banned. And the mother's enforcement is totally erratic too. One day they're happily bonding over movie times, and the very next day she's shutting Samira down, accusing her of ruining their reputations.
Part 4. Trauma as Authoritarianism.
unprotected borders.
Let's shift focus to the mother's perspective for a moment to impartially unpack what's driving this intense need for control. The mother tells Samira, "I didn't flee a military coup just for my daughter to dress a certain way." This heartbreaking line reveals so much. When a person survives that level of geopolitical trauma, a literal upheaval of their country and safety, their nervous system often remains stuck in crisis mode. Because she couldn't control what was happening to her country, she's overcompensating by exerting absolute control over her home. It's a situation where geopolitical instability has translated directly into domestic authoritarianism. In a way, the daughter's body becomes a proxy for those unprotected borders.
Look at how this generational clash violently plays out over a single, striking symbol, a forbidden green canvas army surplus jacket. For the mother, military gear represents trauma, violence, and a terrifying loss of control. But for Samira, that exact same jacket represents her ultimate fantasy of freedom in New York. She pictures herself walking the city streets in that jacket, enjoying edgy artistic freedom and true autonomy. Now, it's a massive betrayal that the mother sides with the Whisper Network over her daughter's lived experience. But understanding this trauma impartially explains why Samira is caught in such an impossible trap between submission and exile.
Part 5. Poetry as Rebellion. A loud, unhidden voice. So, is there a third path out of this trap? Enter Aunt Ada. She is the lighthouse in the gossip storm. She's elegant, unmarried, walks with clicking shoes on polished floors, and has these incredible floor-to-ceiling bookshelves with a glossy wooden ladder. But more importantly, she's the only adult who validates Samira's interior life. She actually listens to her read poetry seriously, and she's incredibly strategic about it. While the mother uses Farah as a warning to stay in place, Aunt Ada quietly hands Samira a roadmap out, purposefully leaving a purple pamphlet for a New York writing program right at the top of a pile. And you might be wondering, why poetry? Well, because poetry requires a loud, unhidden voice. It is the absolute antithesis of what her mother and the community demand of her, which is to remain silent, small, and easily categorized. By embracing her identity as a poet, Samira enacts the ultimate rebellion. She insists that she exists, that her inner life has immense value, and that she will not be erased by the idle rumors of a neighborhood watch turned secret police. She just wants a few states between her and her mother to finally release her from the shape of the daughter she was expected to be.
Part 6. Shattering the Glass Ceiling. The Ultimate Choice.
To connect this to a universal struggle, we all have our own metaphorical aunties, right? Societal pressures, workplace cultures, or even inner critics constantly trying to box us in. The imprint that published this source material, Make Me a World, actually strives for a universe where no glass ceiling presses down on the dreams of a child. But this creates a fascinating, heartbreaking contrast. The mother is driven by fierce love and unprocessed trauma, trying desperately to build thick, safe walls around her child to protect her from the brutal outside world. But this dynamic leaves us pondering a profound question. In trying to build those impenetrable safe walls, do parents inadvertently construct a tragic glass ceiling that completely suffocates those dreams? Which leaves us with this haunting, essential question to carry with you. When faced with those pressures, will you suffocate quietly on the inside, or will you shatter the glass entirely to survive and breathe the open air? Think about the spaces in your own life where you might be keeping yourself safely hidden underneath a mattress. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. I hope you walk away seeing this incredible source material and maybe your own world just a little bit differently. Catch you next time.